bounce, bounce. Make that booty bounce, 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 bounce. Baby, make that booty bounce, 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 bounce. Baby, make that booty bounce. Bend it over for me. Do the stripper street. Left cheek, right cheek, she on the stripper street. Club full of bad bitches, called the stripper house. Take it off, let me see it, make your booty bounce. Bounce, 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 make your booty bounce. Bounce, bounce, baby, make that booty bounce. Bounce, bounce, make that booty bounce. Bounce, baby, make that booty bounce. Applause, kudos to that ass clap. Baby, make it wobble, come and sit that ass in my lap. Boy, you a fool with it. Left cheek, right cheek, drop it to the floor. Baby, let me see that booty meat. Crib full of bitches and my niggas blowing loud. Booties bouncing everywhere, it's the big booty bouncer. Throw it back on me, girl, fight this dick. Yeah, I'm from the triple D, so a fight come with it. Damn, she going hard, yeah, she got me on hard. Goes to PV, tryna fuck her on the yard. In the Avenue, street lane, road, the boulevard. In the backseat, got her doing tricks in my car. Yeah, that booty going ham, shawty bout to cause some shit. Do it like a pro, she a fool on the dick. Yellow bone, chocolate tone, 5-star chick. Baby, shake it for an hour, she gon' go home rich.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk on TGS. I'm Toxic, super producer of the century. And tonight's going to be a special edition of Real Talk. At an earlier time, we have special guest, Rika. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to the host of Real Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, the Barbara Walters of Battle Cam, Miss Priceless One.
What's up, Toxic? Thank you always for the great intros. I love it. We have a special guest today, someone who I've actually had the privilege of meeting a couple times in real life. Her name is Rika. You guys know who she is. What's up, Rika? Welcome to Real Talk.
What's going on? I thank both you guys for having me on here. I've been waiting to pretty much get an interview and tell people a little bit about me. A little bit of everything, a little truth.
Yes, truth doesn't hurt. It only helps, I think, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I want to start off with knowing how your childhood was like and whatnot. So where did you grow up originally and what was your childhood like?
I was born in Beverly Hills. I just want to say that because just working in the area is just an area that I'm very familiar with. I was born at a Beverly Hills hospital, and then I was raised in LA. My mom's from LA. I was raised out there not that long. I would say probably because I can't really remember, but I've seen pictures and stuff, and my mom's telling me, I was in LA, I would say probably since I was born all the way up until probably like 7 or something like that. And then after that, I moved to different other places. I was never really, steady where I lived at. It was always as a child, I remember going to school and just always
changing schools,
making new friends, and then leaving them behind. I remember that. It's I never stayed in the school more than a couple of months, And so that's pretty much how my childhood was. And I also grew up in a very dangerous environment, I would say. My dad was very abusive towards my mom. So we all lived together, they were married. And, I was just forced to watch, whenever he got mad, he would come home drunk, mad. If she didn't have dinner ready on time or just some other, outrageous thing, he would just beat her up, right in front of me. I remember it all. I watched it, and, he did it right in front of me, and my brothers and sisters, did not care. So that's pretty much, how I grew up, and my life.
How long did that last for with your father?
That lasted, I would say, for a couple of years. I would say till I was about, 10 or 11.
Is that when your mom separated from your father?
Yeah, she did. Due to some things that had happened between me and him, it really just made her realize that she needed to leave. You know how like some women are, they feel like, once you start like, abusing me, that's another thing, and then you start going to the children, and then she kind of was like, kind of forced
Enough is
to leave them.
enough when it starts going towards your kids.
Yeah, but she was kind of forced to leave them because, children's services got involved, and the when those people, the law starts getting involved and stuff, it's just a wreck. So they like, they told her, we're going to take your kids away from you if you continue to be with this man. And what happened was, it was I was like 10 or 11, and he came home, and he was mad, and he decided to beat my mom up right in front of me at an older age, because he was beating her up like in front of me when I was just like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. So when I got old enough to actually realize that I could speak up on it now because I'm older,
Yeah.
so I would speak up on it, and he got to the point to where he didn't want me speaking on it, so he started pretty much beating me up too. I got abused as a child by my father. And
Wow.
he gave me concussions. He caved my chest in. I had fractures like all on my chest. He would get belt buckles and beat me into black eyes, like literally. And I was damaged for a while because I grew up thinking
Who
like,
wouldn't be?
like certain things about men, like, don't know if they're abusive or not, don't want to go through that. It's just like trust issues, like a lot. I've been single. I've never been in a relationship at all, like not even one. I get to know people, I have people that I care about, guys that I care about, guys that, I see sometimes, but there's never nothing serious. And I would love that, but um, that's pretty much how it was. And so she ended up leaving my father, and she was a single parent. So I grew up with a single parent mom, and she's did everything that she could for all of her children, including me. Like at a young age, financially she tried her best. It wasn't all the way there. She struggled with you know trying to make her ends meet, but she ended up doing what she had to do, to take care of 6 kids. There's like 6 of us all
Wow.
together. And so that's pretty much how it all came about. Like as far as my childhood, I would, wasn't really good, but I made it out of the situation I was in. So
You
I'm
made the
very
most of
thankful for
it.
that. Yeah. So I just count, like, I just look at it as like a blessing. Like everything that happened was for a reason, and I'm just glad that I got out of that situation, that my mom got out of that situation. And
Did it affect your siblings as well? Your dad's behavior as far as his abuse?
they didn't really they were like too young at the time, so they didn't really like know him, and or they would be like, away like in their rooms and stuff,
That's
and
good. Well, that's good
my
that they did.
youngest brother didn't know my father at all. He's 13 now. He never met him. Like he was born and just my mom took care of him, and that was it. Like he never met my father at all. Never talked to him on the phone, So and he's okay with it, but he kind of struggles with you know growing up and learning how to like be a man on his own, because I feel like he didn't have that father figure. So growing up around a bunch of women, it kind of makes you sensitive, I feel like. So he's kind of sensitive. He cries a lot. He can't take jokes, anything like that. Like just growing up around women, I feel like just made him very sensitive. That's like the only thing. But other than that, like everybody's fine. Um, they go through things. But it's nothing that has to do with you know what happened in the past. So, and just like like my life now, I feel like it doesn't really affect me now, but it definitely it still has something to do with a lot.
It
you know
affects your subconscious and
yeah,
your relationships with men.
right. it,
Yeah.
it, it still does. I try to not let it get in the way, but I'm more precautious now. I learned to give everybody the benefit of the doubt before I start assuming things about them. But yeah, definitely it has opened my eyes up, as far as trusting. I'm not, stupid when it comes to men. I just had to learn at a young age like what I wanted and what I didn't want in a man, because I'm like, when you know you get abused at a young age, especially by somebody that's supposed to shelter you and supposed to be there for you, and instead they and nurture you, and they're beating you. You know, you kind of learn at a young age like what kind of man you don't want when you get older. So
Exactly.
I
Do you,
learned that.
what happened with your father? Did he get away with doing this to you and your mom?
He did. Because he basically he tried to deny it all, and he tried to say that my mom, like, I went to school with a black eye like one day, and he told me, he said, I'll give you some money like if you say your mom did it. Me as a child, you know, hearing things like that, I'm just thinking like, you know, maybe, you know, I'm just gonna lie just for some candy or money. You know how kids are.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I ended up saying that, and they ended up, you know, not knowing what was going on, if she was doing it or if he was doing it. So they just basically told her, like, you know, to stay away from him. Like, he can't even, like, see us through a police officer. Like, he can't see us at all. Like, he's not ordered to see us after what he did. So
That,
basically, that's how
that's
it
how it
came.
should be.
That's how it came about. He didn't get in trouble for it, but he couldn't see his children anymore. So that's pretty much what happened.
And that's a big price to pay, especially if he comes to his senses in the future. What is your relationship like with your family now?
Um, well, my father, I spoke to him when I was like 17 years old, and we had like kind of like a heart to heart, kind of like understanding of like everything that, you know, happened in the past. Kind of just, you know, moved on from it, but we talked, and, you know, I kind of let him understand that I did not want him around, but I do forgive him for everything that he's put my mom through, me, everything. But, you know, that just did not want anything to do with him, like, at all. And so that's like a done deal. And then as far as like my current family, like the people that I live with now, my mom, my brothers and sisters, like my grandmother, like we all live together. And you know, everything, it's kind of complicated with my family. You know, a lot of people have like close relationships with their family, and I've always had, as I got older, I had a close relationship with my mom. And my mom has always been, you know, supporting me through anything that I've done. You know, I remember when I was 14, 15 years old, she was taking me to like modeling interviews. I was so young, like nobody wanted to take me, but even though I kept getting turned down, she kept taking me no matter what, and she supported me. And now that I'm 21 years old, it's even more harder for me to try and, you know, work to support myself and then my family at the same time. My mom has a tumor in her stomach, so basically she's put out of work. Like, she can't work at all. She can't do any type of work, you know, to cause that tumor to bust. Like, so she can't do anything. So what came
Does,
about
can
when I
they do
started.
surgery for her or anything?
Yeah, she's supposed to have surgery, but she keeps throwing it off. She's really scared to have surgery, so she's just kind of waiting until she's ready. But I would say, when I started working at Filmon, uh, I was so thankful, you know, to work at Filmon, because at that time of my life, I was like, you know, stressed out about, like, you know, how I was gonna help my mom, how I was gonna help myself. Like, I was going through all these things because I was doing like freelancing work. I was doing music videos. You know, I was doing stuff like that. You
So
know.
was it kind of on you to like be the one to have your mom's back financially out of all your
Yeah, like
siblings?
when I got this job, it's like everybody started looking at me like everything was my responsibility. Like, I had to be the one paying all the bills, the rent, like everything. And, you know, when I don't do it, or maybe sometimes, you know, I might not get my check, or maybe sometimes they might be like, you know, that affects, you know, the relationship with my family as well, because they all depend on my, you know, my career and what I do. Anything that I do, they depend on my money, you know. And
Yeah.
so I would say money is one of like the one of the things that comes in between like me and my family, because not me, because I don't worship money, but I know I need it. But at the same time, I'm not going to be mad at somebody if they cannot provide it for me. I'm not going to disown my family or snap at them because they can't give me money. But with me, it's just it's been like that since I've been older. It's been, you know, I need
Yeah.
money, you know.
Yeah. How does your family feel about the person that you portray on your show?
Um, you know, my mom, she knows everything that I do on there. She knows the twerking, the cursing, like everything. You know, she knows exactly what I'm doing. My grandmother knows exactly what I'm doing too. She completely dislikes what I do. Like she hates it, and you know, my family pretty much really don't like what I do. And that's been the main problem too, because I've been, I support whatever job that I do, no matter what.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I don't care about my family because I put my job first, but just because they don't like something doesn't mean I'm going to quit at it. It's like it's my career, not theirs. At the end of the day, they have to respect, you know, my self-independence at the end of the day, like, because they can't take care of me. Like, no, like nobody can take care of me because I'm 21 years old and I'm supposed to take care of myself. I'm not a child to where, my mother has to take care of me and all that. So I
Yeah.
feel like anything that I have to do, even if they don't like it, they should not. They can have their opinion on it, but don't try to convince me like this is not what I should be doing or I should be doing something else, because this is what I want to do. And at the end of the day, they have to accept that. And I feel like they really don't accept it.
Yeah. It's like
The fact that
they accept the income of it, but they don't accept what you're doing.
yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? They want the money, right? But
Right.
then they want to complain about it. I'm like, how can you complain about something when it's helping you at the end of the day? It's just like,
Exactly.
my family, I wouldn't say they're unappreciative, but I feel like at times they don't appreciate, you
What you're
know,
sacrificing for
what
them.
I'm for them exactly. And, you know, it's gotten crazy, and I really would love to talk about what happened last night, because I was supposed to last night. I have the full story on that situation.
Do you want to talk about last night now? We can do that.
Yeah, so what happened last night is I was supposed to be on air at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Danny, my co-host, that was my co-host, was
Is Danny the Magic Mountain guy?
yes, he was supposed to co-host for me while I was gone. Mine?
Yeah, yours. There we go. Static's gone.
Is it better? Yeah,
Yes.
it's better, but we've lost. Oh, never mind. You're good. You're good.
You're good.
All right. So basically, he was supposed to take over the show. He decides that, he doesn't know what to do with the show. So he decides, he's just gonna leave. He's just gonna bail out, I guess, at the last minute. And I was in a situation to where, they didn't give me my check. I don't know what happened, but it was something spoken about that I had got overpaid, or some stuff like that. At the end of the day, if I did get overpaid, I'm not responsible for that. I'm not the one who cuts the checks. I'm not the one who writes the checks. I feel like the person who cuts the checks should be responsible for that at the end of the day, not me. So I
Right.
felt like I'm not going to get paid for a whole week for something that was the other person's responsibility and not mine. And so that's how it came about. I felt like I was so emotional. Like, I can't go on air, and express, crying and all this stuff. Like, I was just emotional. Like, I was going through it. So I told Danny, I said, take over. I can't do this right now. And that's exactly what happened. They just told me you're not going to get paid for a whole week. And I lost it, because I worked so hard, and then to tell me that I've been working for free all this week.
Right.
And that's basically what happened last night. So Danny goes across the street. He talks to Alki. Okay, fine. He talks to Alki. And then after he talks to Alki, he calls me. He says, hey, you know, Aoki replaced me, replaced you with me,
So,
and
so Aoki replaced you with the Magic Mountain guy,
yeah,
Danny.
and well, that's what Danny said, and said that he was finding another girl to co-host with Danny. And I kind of felt like, I like Danny, it's cool, but I kind of felt like he was kind of like throwing something in my face, really hard, trying to like prove a point, make it seem like, he's all. It just sounded like he was happy that I was in a situation I was in at the time. And
Wait, not to interrupt you, but how did Danny end up being involved with your show to begin with?
Well, that's a good question. I met him on Hollywood Boulevard. At the time, Aoki was like, "Go find guests, bring them on your show, bring different guests, on your show." And I met Danny. I asked him to be a guest on my show, and when I met him, he was selling hot dogs on the street, and he was all loud, like he was literally outrageously loud. He
Then
was
that
making
probably is what attracted you to him.
exactly. I saw this, and I was like, he's crazy. Like, and we
Yeah.
definitely bring him on the show. He had crazy personality, and at first it was cool, we were both interacting on battle cam with each other, and then I noticed that he started talking over me a lot. And all the battle cameras were all like, he's trying to take your show, he's talking over you, he won't let you talk, he's outrageous. And I didn't really pay attention to it because I'm like, they're probably just trolling me. But after some time, I realized that they were telling the truth. He really doesn't let anybody talk.
Like, what
And
made you keep him around though? After noticing that, because I noticed you kept him around.
I liked his crazy personality. I liked everything about him. Aoki definitely liked him, and it became out of my own control at that time because Aoki said he was a part of my show, so I couldn't kick him
You
off the show
just,
no matter what.
yeah, you just embraced it and went with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he told him he was my co-host, my new co-host. So
Okay, so back to last night. So Danny called you up and was throwing things in your face.
yes,
Okay. And what happened after that?
basically, he talked to me. He told me, he's supposed to be taking over and all this other stuff. And I just told him, congratulations. I didn't snap at him anything. I told him, congrats on, you finally, being on payroll, because he was working with me and not getting paid for like a whole month. And
Right.
so I told him, like, congratulations that you're finally on payroll, good. And I hung up the phone, and that's pretty much how it all went about it. But it was it was so crazy, yesterday, because I was so stressed out and I was really going through it, just analyzing everything.
So Aoki technically fired you for not showing up. Is that what happened then?
Basically, what happened is since I wasn't on air at 4 o'clock, and I decided to not do a show because I didn't get paid, he basically told me all my shows were canceled, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to believe at the time, because like he was heated, and I was definitely heated too. So we were both just going at each other, me and Aoki both, and I that's pretty much how it went about. And so I have a couple of modeling agencies lined up, and a whole lot of other stuff that I'm gonna do, and kind of have like something
more options, not just relying on what you do for Filmon.
right. So even if I if I come back, that's great, and but if it gets to the point to where I'm no longer wanted, I accept it just the way it is. But I would love to stay and work on my shows, my game, everything. I feel like people never got a chance to see the serious side of me, and I kind of wanted to change my format as far as the show, but
I'm actually going to ask you about that in a later question about your show and how you feel about it and where you'd want to go with it and whatnot. So is there anything, are you trying to get your show back? Do you want your show back? Like, how do you feel about that since we're talking about the fire, so I can move on to the next thing?
I feel like I would love to continue to work here. I feel like I stay like an hour and 40 minutes away. I'm not even gonna lie. So that's definitely a problem for me because it's like all my money just like goes to just huge
Gas.
amount of gas money. So I think I would actually have to make a drastic, real change and just move closer. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like my family's probably gonna be mad about that happens and stuff because they want me to support here. If I move out, I have to support where I stand. So it's
Exactly.
it's kind of something that's playing on my mind, but I'm willing to take whatever risk I have to take to you know do what I have to do to um keep supporting myself, keep my job, but I just want to make sure that my job has my back too before I make all these moves. I don't want to be
Exactly.
looking stupid in the end, like, oh, you moved all the way down there only to get fired. Like, once again, like, I just want to know that, you know,
You have
I,
a job
I
secured
have
before
my
you
back. Yeah,
relocate.
because I have his back 100%. Like, I care about Alki. Like, I have no choice but to care about him because I've known him for 2 years now. So for me to like we've known each other like for this long, like, and it's just like it's just not some random person that I work for. It's just somebody that you know I've known for a long time. And so it's like I do care about him, but at the same time I need to know that he has my back because I have Filmon's back 100%, battle count, all the stuff that I do, all the outrageous stuff. People might think that it's not classy. I do it all for his company.
Right.
So I just my whole thing is how I feel about if I'm gonna come back. Just I need to make sure that I have I get my checks on time. I have a set schedule, like all
It's,
this,
you
and
need
that
stability.
I'm not gonna be fired, out of nowhere. So that would be my only thing I would say.
Yeah, so you definitely would go back to Filmon if Valky asked you for the record.
If things change as far as like I just
Stability.
yeah, if that yeah, I would definitely.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to rewind a little bit and touch more on you on a personal level, and then we'll get back to the battle cam stuff.
Okay.
I understand, like myself, you battled depression. At what age did it start to affect you, or was there an event that happened to trigger it? And like, I'm kind of wondering, like, after what you told me about your dad, if that maybe is what made the depression kick in for you, was going through all of that.
Um, it definitely it was a part of that, but as I got older, I kind of got over like all of that what happened in the past. But then every time like I try to do something right, then people just like say I'm doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm never good enough for nobody. Everything I try to do is like always like seems like to be a fail, like relationships, job wise. Like I try my best, but it's not like I don't try enough. So, and that's the thing. I can't try as hard as people want me to want me to. It's just not going to happen because I'm just struggling with all these things. Like I feel like I'm constantly going to lose my mind. Like I can try my best to do the best I can. I can't be the best if I'm not perfect to begin with. That goes like job wise, relationships, anything like like what I'm saying? Like they might be looking for this perfect host, right? And
Yeah.
I might be you know perfect for the show, but my A game might be messed up or something, or something, it might be something wrong that I'm doing wrong, and I feel like that's normal for my show not to be perfect, for everybody not to like me. It's gonna be people who like me, people who don't, and I feel like that's why I struggle with depression the most is not being good enough at
Are
any.
people judging you?
They judge me a lot. People thinking that they know who I am, and they really don't. Like, like people say I'm a slut, I'm a whore. It's not. I'm really just not.
Ratchet. etc.
Like, you know, if I can like freaking like go out and just have sex with a bunch of dudes and be okay with that, I would probably do it. But my mind can't convince me that that's something that I'm into. I've always been the type to say, if I'm not going to be in a relationship, then I'm not just going to be all out free like that. And I've just always been like that. And you know, I like to talk about heart filling things. You know, like I have deep conversations with people, and I try to, you know, I'm very sensitive. Like I'm a very sensitive person. Like not like as far as crying and stuff. Like I that too, but like
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive with myself. I just like to talk about sensitive subjects and all kinds of stuff. And you know, I'm not all clapping and loud. You know, that's just what I do on battle cam. But you
Yeah.
know, I have a sensitive side to me. It's not just all loud and all that. So a lot of people do judge me, and before they get to know me, and sometimes it gets so bad to where they don't want to get to know me because they've already pictured who I was in the first place, so they don't get to know
Like the
who.
real you.
Right.
Like
And that's
meeting you like for the first time at the studio. It's like, you know, like I saw you in this way that you portrayed yourself on BC, and then when I met you like at the studio, you're a completely different person.
yeah.
You know, and that's what made me like, you know what, the people at BC need to know this side of you that I see, because you're being mistaken as being all these other things that you're really not, you know.
Correct. Yeah, I learned, you know, that the stuff that I do, I have to accept that people aren't going to take my word for it if I tell them I'm not those things, because how you appear to be anywhere, even if it's on TV, like that's how people are going to portray you. So I learned that, you know, I do this, and I have to accept that some people aren't wise enough or smart enough to see through it all,
Yeah.
because it takes a really strong person to say you're not like that. I know that you're not like that. Like I've met a few people who saw through me, and without me even telling them who I was, and they said you're not really like that, you know, all that
Yeah.
stuff you do on TV and stuff, that's not you. I see right through it, just because
Yeah.
they took the time to get to know me, so they figure out who I really am.
So, for the record, for the people who haven't figured this out by now, you are a character on Battle Cam. Your show, you are what Alki wants you to be. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a little mixed in with kind of, you know, me freestyling how I want it to be too. But when I first came to Battle Cam, he strictly told me he wanted a crazy, you know, host, and that's what I've been ever since. Ever since then, you know, ever since I met him, he told me, you know, this is what he wants, and a lot of people thought that it was my idea. You know, they're like, where did
Yeah.
she get this from? Like, why is she acting like this? I got it from Alki David, and I just went along with it, you know, and it was easy for me to do, you know, because it's just like I'm kind of crazy myself, so just mixing it in with the platform is just like something that I was totally up for and could do. Because a lot of people would say, "Oh, I don't know how to do that," you know, or "I can't do that," you know, or "I'm too classy for that." Like, there's so much stuff that people say they can't do it because of their situation.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it because I felt like I didn't look at it like I was hoish or anything, or just because I just felt like, well, I took it as acting, you know?
Yeah, you're doing a job. I mean, it's like when I go to the studio, I step out of who I am a little bit, you know, for studio reasons. So I understand that.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people, they think I'm a lesbian too, you know? And, like, you know, me and you, when we were on Battle Count, we were hosting together, me, you, and Cavacho.
Yeah.
And I, like, ate a peppermint or something out of, like, between your pants and your butt. And, you know, people were like, oh, these lesbians. But, you know, it's a part of the platform. So that's what we did, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, for the record, like, that whole show was, like, just, we winged it the whole time. Like, we didn't even know what, you know, we didn't be a from Bard. Like, we had no idea about it. It just ended up being that in the middle of the show, you know, or in the beginning of the show. It kind of just like put that platform for us, you know, which I personally wasn't uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable with it because it was for Bard, you know, and I knew that wasn't a Bard thing. Like,
Yeah.
I know, like, people were talking after I was on your show that one time, like, how could you do that to Price and yada yada, but it wasn't you, and that's what people didn't realize is, like, you weren't calling the shots, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and everybody was in the chat box saying twerk for Bard, and
Yeah.
I thought maybe I should, like maybe I should make it fun because everybody kept saying like you guys look so depressed, like don't do this to us, and I was trying to, maybe I should twerk for Bard, maybe I should, because everybody was just like making it seem like we were just like turned down on battle cam and we were making them depressed, like I don't know, but I didn't want to do it, but.
Well, they flashed it across the screen. We had no choice but to do it. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the whole depression thing because that's like something that you and I identify with so much. Like, what are ways for you to like cope with your depression? What do you do to cope?
I do meditation. A lot of people don't know about my meditations, but I do meditations, and I basically listen to soundscapes. Basically, what those are is like music that you listen to, but it's not music. It's basically just like birds chirping, sounds of waves, and I put that in my ears. I close my eyes. I just think about if I'm on an island or some exotic place, that vacation, anything, and it works because I go into hypnosis, and I start daydreaming. Like I literally just start daydreaming and actually seeing myself like on that island, like I'm actually there. Like if I do it for like a whole hour with my eyes closed, like I just picture this stuff, and then like when I like get out of it, it's just like I'm feeling relieved, like as if I took a vacation or something. Like a lot of people
feel
like,
like a peace.
Yeah, I do. I do my meditations and listen to my music and all kinds of stuff, and I try to talk to people when I'm depressed.
Do you suffer from panic attacks as well, or just depression?
I do suffer from panic attacks. I don't take medication for it, but there's been times where my family members have found me having seizures in the shower with, just foam coming out of my mouth. Beyond my control. Like I couldn't even stop it, but I couldn't even call for help at times. Like that's how bad it was. And it's gotten better. I haven't really had seizures or panic attacks lately, but whenever I get really stressed out, start panicking, it comes along with seizures too. I notice I have seizures along with the panic attacks. I've never sought help for that or anything. I try to, not just be stressed. I don't do, drugs or anything, so I can't tend to go to those type of things for my problems. It has been offered to me before, but, I just told myself I don't want to do something like that, I never did it. So now I'm at the point to where, I'm just kind of just trying to deal with things like life the normal way, without medication and this and that. Like I used to take medication. I used to take, depression pills. I used to have sleeping pills because I couldn't sleep, and just all kinds when I was a kid because of all the stuff I've went through as a child.
Yeah.
As I got older, I got off pills. I fucking just learned to deal with it all, just with how it came, just however.
Not run from it, just face it all.
And it hurts even worse now because I have to face it without taking medication, without, all this stuff. So it's like I try not to stress out. So.
Oh, nice. Stun's got a picture of us. That's pretty hot. Woo-hoo. I like that. I'm glad that, you're able to cope and find a way to like deal with your whole depression and stuff because it's hard. Depression's like a big battle that people don't even know about,
Yeah.
And nor can they relate to unless they're in those shoes. So we talked about the fact that you've never had a boyfriend or been in love due to what happened to you as a child. But what do you look for in a man? Like, what would be the perfect man for Rika?
Someone who sees me for who I am and not who I appear to be. Someone who sees through it. Someone who is honest. Someone who knows that I'm, of course not perfect and that there are times where I'm gonna make mistakes or mess up, but still wants to be around because a lot of guys they see everything I've been through and they like
They
you have
run.
issues and they run
Yeah.
like you have some serious issues like someone who could stay strong by my side and stick through everything with me through thick thin whatever whatever mistakes I make they're there to accept everything every single thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking for somebody like that. And I could have been in a relationship plenty of times, but none of them understood me the way I wanted them to. So I wasn't willing to go that next route with them because they expected me to be who they wanted me to be, and I am who I am, and I just need people to accept me for that. Like, they want me to not, you know, cry. They want me to not be emotional, and they have to accept that I am going to get emotional at times, and I'm going to have breakdowns and everything and be willing
Yeah.
to be there for me when I'm going through these things. So I would say somebody who understands,
You need a strong
understand.
man.
Yeah.
Definitely a strong man. How did you end up working for Filmon then? We had kind of touched on that, but we didn't really find out how you came to.
My mom brought me to the website. She is a very she watches TV a lot. She's a TV person.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't the type to really watch TV. I was more of an internet person. I was on sites called like Tiny Chat and stuff.
Right.
And so I was a huge fan of Tiny Chat. She knew I was a huge webcammer, and she literally told me, "Hey, there's this website on TV I came across that you can get paid for being on webcam. So instead of being on Tiny Chat, you should sign on to here so you can get paid." And I was like,
Right.
I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. That's a scam, Like I didn't know anything. Like you just hear money for being on webcam, you think maybe it's a scam.
Right, because it was advertising on TV for $10 a minute.
Yeah, you're like $10 a minute. Come on, how's that possible? So I didn't believe it at first, but I took a chance, went on the website, signed up, and me and my little sister got on. As soon as we got on, people just like gave us challenges like right away. And then Alki popped up and gave us challenges, and he was supposed to pay us through, I believe, PayPal for our challenge money, but I don't have a PayPal. So
Uh-huh.
he asked me to come pick up a check from the office in Beverly Hills. When we did that, he started discussing about like what would I like to do, like as far as with the company. I
Uh-huh.
told him I was into entertainment and TV, and that's when I got set up with Joe to be a co-host with Joe. So it just all happened so quick because I was new to the site at the time, and I knew nothing about Battlecam. I was on there, I would say, for a month and a half, and didn't really know too much, and started hosting a show with Joe like right away, like right after I came to the website. Like it was just crazy how everything
Uh-huh.
happened. And so that's how that came about. Came across it on TV screen, signed up, um, did some challenges. Was supposed to just come to the studio to pick up money. I wasn't supposed to be a co-host or anything there. And then we started talking about like further on, down the road, like about me hosting a show there. And so that's how that came about. And Joe set me up with Filmon. A lot of people don't know that they say Alki did it first, but Alki, I hit up Joe first to be a co-host on Joe's show. I started co-hosting on Joe's show first. So Joe helped me out a lot with becoming my own host because if I wasn't on his shows, who knows. So
Yeah.
then I contact Alki after I was Joe's co-host for so long and asked him for my own show. I contacted Alki on Facebook, and Alki gave my own show. But Joe's the one who set me up with the whole thing, and as far as getting into the studio hosting.
What was it like working for Joe or working with him?
It was like no other. It's hard to explain, everybody that I host with now, even guests that I would bring on the show and stuff, it's not the same. Me and Joe was just I loved working with him, and it's definitely a change, with how things are going now. I feel like, us together, like, us just being like different, like he's different and I'm different,
Right.
him, like, the way we play acts on, Filmon and together, just like, I'm acting ratchet. He might not like the ratchetness on the show, so he might act like I'm a ratchet on the show and act like I'm stalking him, I'm in love with him. Like, I just feel like it just played like it's raw. So
Yeah.
I love working with him.
So
Definitely.
everything was a role between you and Joe. None of that was legit. It was all for the cameras, just so everybody knows.
It was definitely all for the cameras, but what I would say is a little secret to everybody. I hope everybody doesn't take it, the wrong way, but I definitely had strong feelings for Joe. Just working with him, knowing him for so long, and we just grew on each other. I know he talks stuff about me and like makes up lies on battle cam, whatever. But the truth is that he knows the truth. Like, everything that comes out of his mouth is a complete lie, And he knows that I care about him as a friend. Like, I really do. Me and Joe would have never worked as a relationship at all, because I have a secret about him I really don't want to tell, but there's things about him that just won't work as far as us in a relationship. He can't get it up. He can't get hard. So
Yeah, that wouldn't work for me either.
Yeah, he takes a lot of Adderall, and Adderall makes his penis soft. And I need me a hard one at the end of the day.
Right? For sure.
So, nothing personal to you, Joe, but he knows. He knows he takes his Adderall, and to each his own. He knows he can't get it up. He knows, it was one time BTF was in town, and me, Joe, Sarah, all of us were together. We're staying at the Roosevelt Hotel. We were all hanging out at the hotel. I had spent actually that whole weekend with BTF. It was a fun weekend. And BTF had to catch an early flight that morning. He had to catch a flight at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So I was at a party, and I didn't leave that party until like 7:30 in the morning. I was there from like 2 a.m. in the morning all the way to 7 o'clock. So I get to the hotel. Joe opens the door, and Joe was just like, beating his rocks off. Like, he opens the door, just, jacking off while he's opening the door. I was like, oh wow, please, like, don't let me interrupt, He goes, he can't get hard. He asks me to get him hard, I was like, how do you expect me to do that, He took too much Adderall. He asked me to jerk him off or whatever. It didn't work, I was just completely turned off at that point, and it definitely changed the way I felt about him, because I always, cared about him a lot. I'm just like, you walk into awkward moments like that, you don't know what to think. A person's in here beating this stick, and it's just awkward. And then I guess he told everybody that we had sex. Oh my gosh, that never happened, like, at all, And then he said that we had sex with a used condom. Who does that? First of all, you can buy condoms for cheap at the store. Like, why would you have to use a used? Like, why would you have to use a used one? Like, I'm just like, I'm tripping off of this, but people will do anything to get views and to get the battle cameras talking, and that was his whole plan,
Okay.
And I didn't even, I haven't spoke to Joe, in a while. Actually, when he stopped working at battle cam, I talked to him and I told him that, that I really didn't appreciate people really talking about him the way they were doing. Like, people were coming at him really badly, and I told him, like, I think what he does at Filmon is great. And I thanked him for, giving me an opportunity to, have my own show there by co-hosting on his show. And he said thanks, and that was it. I didn't say anything else. But, Joe's great. Joe has, a lot of talent, I would say. But I think, me and him completely different when it comes to respect-wise, as far as the job, as far as Aoki. He's very disrespectful towards Aoki. And I've never disrespected Aoki. I would say yesterday when he canceled my shows, we kind of had an altercation. But as far as that, I've never disrespected him. I've always had the most high respect for him. So I would say that's the only thing with Joe is he doesn't have enough respect for Aoki. That would be my only thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen the way he's talked to him before. Like, it's outrageous. But
But you also want to be in the entertainment industry, like battle camps. Not where you want to be. You have a higher platform that you want to go to. What do you want to do in the entertainment industry?
I want to do a lot. I want to do acting. I want to do modeling. I sing, um, very good, but it's just something that you know my family wanted me to do growing up. They wanted me to play piano. They wanted me to sing, and so I wasn't forced to learn how to do all these things. But it was a lot of musicians in my family, so I pretty much grew up on music, and there's a lot of things that I do as far as hobbies that I could do and pursue, but it's just a whole lot of things I would want to do. I would say whichever one pursues itself, I would be more than happy to do either one, whether it's modeling, acting,
Right.
singing, like whatever.
Yeah, never rule out any options.
Yeah.
Take whatever you can get. Some call you a one-trick pony. What do you have to say to those people who call you that?
I would say, yeah, probably, the character I play on Battlecam is the one trick pony, like most likely. Um, but as far as what I do in my personal life, I would say that's definitely not the case. It's
Yeah.
just, it's outrageous, these people, what they say and stuff. And I'm just like, that's totally not the case. But I would probably, no, probably, the ratchetness and all that, but it's not something that, I'm going to take personal. They're going to say that even though they've heard that, the real side of the story and stuff, they'll probably still say that I am. But, it's the character I portray.
Yeah. Like we said, it's just a character, people.
Yes.
Has Alki ever asked you to do something that you've struggled with doing? And if so, what?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't think he has asked me to do something that I struggle with doing, but I would say that my only struggle would be probably is bringing guests every single week um of my show. And to going out finding these people every day basically is a struggle, because some people are gonna say no matter what. If one person says no, you gotta ask the next person. If that person says no, you gotta keep on going. I spend
Right.
hours a day looking for guests for the show.
Have
So
you
it's
ever
stressful.
thought of putting a Craigslist ad up?
I've never thought about that, but that's something. Yeah, that's something to think about, because everybody goes on Craigslist.
Yeah. And everybody's looking to be on TV.
That's something to think about.
You could
Because I
probably
was
find
actually
people to do
going
it.
out on the streets looking for people, and it's like real stressful.
Yeah, especially if you live really far away from Hollywood and LA and Beverly Hills. For sure. What was the sickest thing you ever had to do on one of your shows, and why was it the sickest?
Oh my gosh, I had to freaking eat cat food. That was the sickest, I think. And then I had to let Cavacho kiss me on the lips.
Oh,
That was sick.
wow.
He kissed me right on the lips. And even though I wiped off his lips with disinfecting, wipes, it still wasn't right to me, and I
When
had
she
to
sa-
do it.
When she says that she's had to, she's saying because she was put on the spot during a live show. That's what
Yes.
she means. Just so people know.
I was put on the spot live on Battlecam, and it's like I had no choice. Couldn't back out.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand the whole Cavacho thing, because seeing everything that he's consumed, I wouldn't want his lips anywhere near mine either. Oh, wow. Speaking of Cavacho, tell me about your experience with the Cavajo and what happened with Cruz in there and whatnot.
Oh my gosh, that experience was amazing. We were just in there cruising, had got really drunk off some Hennessy, and he kept drinking and drinking and drinking, and next thing I know, the whole bottle was almost empty, and he starts just throwing the N-word at me the whole night. And one of the camera guys were black, and he came in there and snapped, and he's like, "I'm gonna beat your ass, like live on battle cam." And I understood he was drunk, so I didn't take it serious. But everybody in the studio was offended, and we fought and we put boxing gloves on, and he was so drunk that he actually really tried to knock me out. So I kind of got
Wow.
dazed, and he hit me in my nose, and my nose felt like it was broke, but it wasn't. But it was just like kind of like when you get hit hard, it's like sore. So I almost got knocked out by cruising. Cavacho had to leave because he kept snapping because they wouldn't let him smoke a cigarette.
Right.
And they threw hot pizza all over him. Like his clothes were all dirty. It was a crazy night, but it was funny, but not funny at the same time. But I couldn't help but laugh. But it was
Yeah.
definitely a crazy situation.
How did the whole cruise and smack off come into play? Was that after you guys did the boxing thing?
He stuck his head out of the cavajo and he said, "Slap me, slap me, slap me as hard as you can." So each time a person would slap him, he would say it wasn't hard enough. So people would slap him even harder. Then again, he would say that wasn't hard enough. So it's gonna be like 10 times harder. Like he really wanted people to pretty much bruise him up.
Yeah.
I slapped him like twice, but I couldn't do it because he was drunk and I knew he was just talking. The liquor was talking.
Right. Yeah.
That's how that came apart. He was really drunk and he was just saying anything, really.
What happened with didn't you have to touch Cruisin's penis at one point during that?
I did. I had to massage it. It was
Was it
it was awkward because he had a really small penis, and yeah, I would say maybe like 5 inches, maybe 4.5.
wow.
It
And
was hard.
Alki had you do that?
No, it was it was Cruisen's idea. Cruisen wanted
Okay.
me to touch him, and I was like, you know what, you're in a diaper. Like, I'm gonna try to help you out the meanwhile while you're in here, try to give you a little excitement. And I go to like kind of like jerking him off, but he didn't get hard, so it's kind of awkward for me. And he claims that I need to do more than just jerk him off. I need to put my mouth on it and all this other stuff. I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Nah.
So that's how that came about. And battle cameras were suggesting in the chat box that I touch his penis, so I just went for it.
There you go. So it's just like, do you think that you ever get like caught up in a moment during a show and then do something that you regret later?
Sometimes, not really, but it's kind of like, probably like, oh, why did I do that? But it happened, so oh well. Like I kind of like, I never regret anything. I just kind of take it as, oh well, it happened. I gotta deal with it now. I would
Yeah.
say one thing that I did was kind of weird. I don't know how it came about, but I was co-hosting. I was hosting a show, and Danny was co-hosting with me, and I put my pants down, and stuck a wine bottle in between my butt cheeks and twerked.
Uh-huh.
And people were like, "Wow, like her butt is showing, like everything's out." And I kind of was like, what if they have screenshots? And of course they always do.
Always.
Another situation would be when I was in Vegas. I had a robe on, and my robe, it was open. My vagina was all over the internet. The battle camera screenshotted it, and my vagina was just all over the internet. I was like, oh my gosh. But I was like, you know what? You're in a hotel room. The cameras are rolling 24/7. I was in the bathtub and they were coming in there with the cameras. I had to like put the bubbles all over me when they couldn't see my tits and stuff. Like it was awkward. Like there was no privacy. So
Yeah.
that was my biggest thing. I always say that my vagina being on the internet.
Yeah, that's a big deal. For sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a moment on your show where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I get paid for doing this? And if so, what would be a situation like that?
Like something that's like what kind of
Like,
example?
like you're doing a show and you're just having so much fun doing this show where you're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this,
I would say when I'm just like twerking on random people.
Okay.
Like strangers on the street, like I bring them in the studio and just twerk on them and twerk on their faces and stuff. Like I always like, gosh, like I get paid to like just do this fun stuff. Like that's crazy, because it is crazy because a lot of people they work and they take work serious, and I respect those people, and they work and they do serious work and they work for hours
Yeah. Yeah.
versus me working 1 hour and doing fun stuff. Like some people jobs aren't fun, and that's what I would say I love about this job is that it is fun.
Yeah, and it's far from boring because you never know what you're walking into on a daily basis. It's not like
Yeah.
an office job, you know? Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's bring up the whole Venice Beach thing because I'm sure people want to know about this. At Venice Beach, you were screaming at a lady with a baby, which caused a lot of controversy on you. Were you told to do that, or how did that incident come into play?
I was told to do that. I was told to um harass people in Venice Beach, to go up to random people and start stuff, to make conflict, everything. I was told, you know. And my intentions were never to approach that lady and disrespect her because she had a baby with her. That wasn't my thing. What happened was is I was talking to the guy that she was with, and I was telling him we were doing that dating show like Cheaters, and I
Yeah,
was like, "Who is she?" You know, and he was all like laughing, but she wasn't happy about it. She was all like, "Get those cameras out of our face." I told her it's a camera, you know, crew, and we're with so and so TV, and we're at Venice Beach. You can't tell us to put the cameras away. She tries to swing at me, like literally. She's like, I told you. Shh. At that point, I did not care that she had a baby on her because the baby wasn't in her hands. It was in a stroller. And plus, the
right,
guy was with her. So I told her, look, if you swing at me and try to attempt to hit me and you actually hit me, I'm going to beat your ass, like straight up.
right.
And
It,
she tried to swing at me again. I ran up on her and I pushed her. I really did. I was like, you know what? You want to try this shit with me? We can go here. So I snapped. Like, I really snapped. And then the guy that she was with tried to tell me that I better back up or else. Like, he tried to threaten me, and I didn't like that. So I snapped on him, too. So that's how it all came about. It looked like I was harassing him, but they really were coming at me really foul, you know, swinging at me, telling us to put the cameras away. Like, they were the ones who were pushing it. I never put my hands on nobody. They were trying to put their hands on me. So everybody took it as, oh, you know, you're harassing, you know, like that couple and all that. Like, they were telling us strictly to put the cameras away, or they were going to start swinging. And she actually started swinging. So that's how that came about.
like,
You
what
know?
made you not just walk away?
I would say for the entertainment for battle cam, you know, I kind of exaggerated it, you know, a little by getting all loud and clapping, you know, like I do and stuff, just to like, you know, so the battle cameras can enjoy what but they, you know, really didn't enjoy it at the end of the day. I thought they would, but it was my mistake. So I kind of exaggerated the whole thing.
Was any of her like coming at you caught on video? Because all we saw was you coming at her.
You know, I don't think it was. I think they probably like tried to make me look bad by putting the parts they wanted to put in there. And I feel like, you know, because when people take videos, they put what they want people to see, you know.
The old honest Frank.
Yeah.
So they put all the bad parts in there of the person that they want to make look bad, and they don't put the actual other person that created the whole thing in the first place. So I just feel like whoever made the video like they did just tried to make me look bad because they didn't put the full thing. They just put
Okay.
me clapping all in the air.
That's happened to me before with a video, so I get that, but I don't know. It's just like if a woman with a child, you know, like they have their kid, they just get so defensive,
Yeah.
you know. So I kind of understand why she flipped on you the way she did, you know. I definitely understand that on her part, you know, but it's nice to hear your side of it as well because people have never heard your side of it on this matter before. Who was it though that was telling you to do it? The studio, Alki?
Alki told me to. Well, he told me and Justin to do Cheaters.
Uh-huh.
He wanted us to do Cheaters, so that's basically how it came about. We were just, I wouldn't say harassing, but well, yeah, well, we were going up to everybody saying, "Who is this B word? Who is this? You know, girl you're cheating on me with?" And a lot of people got offensive because they didn't know if it was true or not. You know, so a a lot of people was mad at me, like, wait, but who are you? You know, like they were coming at me like that, and so I would say I probably almost got punched or some sort, you know, throughout the whole night because I was risking a lot. Because you just can't go up to somebody and say that's my man and expect them not to want to swing at you to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, very
But it was
true.
definitely Alki's idea. He wanted us to do cheaters. I thought it was a great idea to do cheaters, but then it got crazy out there. So,
Do you regret that whole incident ever happening?
no, because I didn't swing at anybody or do anything wrong. I would just say I was doing what anybody else would do with the camera crew or a crazy show. They go out and mess with people every day. Um, but I would say that sometimes, you know, it gets carried away, goes too far.
All right, we're going to rewind real quick back to Vegas. You were supposed to get married in Vegas, but you ended up one-upping getting married in Vegas and ended up twerking with Miley. What happened with that?
Oh my gosh. So me and Justin were supposed to get married. Alki goes, you guys are going to be, you know, basically fired. You know, you got to do this. So we were like, oh gosh, we got to do it, you know? I didn't get married to him only because Alki stated that he will not pay for the divorce, and that was a huge problem for me.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to figure out how I'm going to come up with some divorce money. Justin goes, we can go half on it. You know, I was like, no, I can't. And I just I attempted to get into Miley's event. I go up there. I try to look professional as possible. Carl, you know, he had his camera ready and everything. He said, I'm filming the show and she's one of the dancers. And they really believed it and like let me in. And I just started twerking my way in there, and it was amazing to be able to twerk at her event. I ended up being on Perez TV, and I was
Oh,
just like,
nice.
wow. So yeah, there was a whole bunch of videos of me twerking at her event on Perez TV on YouTube. So I was really excited about that. So it was really, it was a great experience, you know, to be, you know, not only just twerking on like random people, but like Miley Cyrus, like out of all people. So it was pretty amazing how we pulled off getting inside that event.
Yeah, that is cool how you did that. And that's cool that you were able to Miley Cyrus out of anybody, you know, especially with her attempting to twerk. I hope she learned from you that day. I really do. Well, let's go back to your show. I felt like your show had come a long way from like where you started and where it was up until recently. How did you feel like your show was going, and how did you go about making it better?
I felt like it gets to a point to where you're constantly doing like the same thing, and it kind of gets like boring
It's
after a
old.
while. Like at least for me, like, you know, I don't know how other people felt about it. I know a lot of people commented on it too, but for me, just every time I come to work and it's just like I'm forced to twerk because everybody in the chat box is like twerk. You know, I got to the point where I wanted them to see a serious side of me. And I started to try to talk about topics, different things, but the topics that were brought up wasn't something that they wanted to talk about. So I'm constantly trying to figure out, like, you know, what is it that I can do to, you know, be professional this time around. It's a new year, other than twerking, like where I don't have to twerk ever again. I could just be professional and have the talent to where twerking will not be needed, you know, in certain situations. Because I kind of feel like when the show's kind of going like sour, they tell me to twerk. So I'm trying to find things where the show doesn't go sour, where I could just sit down and talk. That's it, like no twerking.
Yeah. Is that
I don't
how
want
you?
anymore.
How did it come into play? That was Alki's idea for you to bring guests onto the show and whatnot.
It was definitely Alki's idea for me to bring guests on the show. He told me I had to bring guests. If I didn't bring guests, then I would basically get in trouble. So I was bringing guests every day out the week because that was his orders. Some of the guests that I bring in don't understand battle cam at all.
Right.
I would say maybe if we're going to bring guests, bring some battle cameras.
Yeah, exactly. I think the studio should definitely be filled with more battle cameras.
Yes.
If you could change anything about your show, if you were to work for Filmon again, what would you change about your show? Or what would you like to see yourself as portrayed as?
Somebody who has talent, somebody who people look at and actually want to see every time I come on. A person who, when I'm not on Battle Cam, they want to know when's the next time I'm coming on because my shows are just that good. Like I want, to completely change a lot what I do on Battle Cam. I want to, them to see not just the character, but who I really am, like what I do.
So you want to find ways to express the fun side of Rika, but the serious side at the same time.
Yes, like kind of mix it in together, like somehow.
Do you prefer to work solo, or are you cool with having like random guests with you?
I prefer to definitely work solo.
Okay, I get that. How do you feel about Aoki now?
I feel like um well, that's a good question because Aoki is Aoki, just like Joe is Joe, and I feel like Aoki is he's trying to make something that he invested in as good as he can make it. So I feel like with Battle Cam, he's just trying to make sure that, you know, everybody that works for him does their best, but at the same time, I feel like, um, we can all do better, at making it better. We can all work with each other and not like fight as much because I feel like, kind of fighting like with your boss, somebody you work for and stuff is not really good. Like that
No,
shouldn't even be like in the equation. And I feel like, we're always arguing about something. I feel like if we can just like,
find
have
a
a
better way to
understanding
communicate.
yeah, better ways to communicate, understanding, then it wouldn't be, like it is right now. So I feel like how I feel about him is I feel like he just wants Battle Cam to, be better than what it is now and to continue to make it better so he comes off as an asshole, but he's really just trying to get the company to be better. And the people that works for him, he wants us to be better. He wants me to, change up my platform and wants me to also do better. So,
Yeah,
and I understand that. And I've been trying to get meetings with him to talk about, making the show better and what does he expect from me with the shows and stuff. But he's a busy man. So, hopefully I get to talk to him tomorrow. I'm supposed to talk to him tomorrow um, after my modeling audition out there in Beverly Hills. So hopefully when we talk, we have an understanding.
yeah. I wish you luck with both things, with the audition and with talking to Alki tomorrow. Like I don't like a lot of the live shows, but you entertained me. Like I thought your show got better and better and better as you kept going. And I just think that it should still be on, and hopefully you'll get back at what you do. I
And
only
I would
got a
love to
couple more
talk to you
questions.
if I do come back on the battle camera. I would love to talk to you about um, topics that you think the battle cameras want to hear and stuff because you are a hardcore battle camera. You've been on here for a very long time, so I would love to kind of get some ideas from you. Like, what do you think they want me to talk about? Kind of get some insight on that. Like, I would love to ask even all the battle cameras, what do they want to see?
Yeah,
Because I want to people to like me and like what I do. I don't want everybody just like, oh, like why is she on here, like get off. Like I really would you know kind of have them see a different side of me and say, okay, well she's not that bad after all, and just kind of get an understanding of what they want to.
yeah. I've actually only been here for a little over a year now, like officially. I was on here before, but I never made an account. But I would love to help you with anything, with your show. Like I'd love to help you succeed. Absolutely. I'd love to go down there and visit you again too one day. Even though I'm not a big studio person, I would love to come hang out with you one day.
Yeah.
All right, I got two more questions, and we're going to go ahead and open up the Skype lines. What makes you happy in life, Rika, and what do you want out of life?
It makes me happy to see people around me that I deal with on a daily, family members, friends. Makes me happy to see them, most definitely happy when, people depend on me, like I said, my family to help them. and when I can't do it, it makes me sad. I've definitely always been the type of person to be giving more than receiving. So I feel like what makes me happy is just being happy. Really, just people around me being happy. Just being able to be in a good situation. I'm not saying like I want to like be super rich and all that, but just being able to like get the help that I need from Alki. Like having him help me for a year and a half straight just by working for him. I appreciate that. Like that made me happy right there to be able to just be able to survive, to live in this world. That just makes me happy right there, where I don't have to worry about when's the next time I'm gonna have to make arrangement on my bills or other stuff like that. But what also makes me happy is just being who I want to be, like not pretending to be somebody else. I just that makes me happy just to live life how I am.
Yeah.
And I would love it if people didn't really criticize as much, but that's just how life is, so you're not always going to be
This
happy
is
about
battle cam. Like
yeah
battle cam's like the best arena I feel to get criticism on something.
yeah
I really do. So where would you like to see yourself in 3 years?
Oh my gosh, three
Ideally.
years I would like to see myself. It sounds crazy, but I would love to be in a stable relationship with a man in 3 years. I would love to be in a serious relationship. I would love to be in a secure situation. I would love to definitely at that point not be worrying about what's my next move. I would actually want to be where I want to be and stabilized in 3 years, relationship wise and business wise. I would love to definitely see myself stabled and try
Yeah,
to see myself.
that's beautiful. That's the way it should be for sure. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the Skype line. So if anyone wants to call in, it's Kel Loves Orange Soda. If you have a question for Rika, feel free to call in now and you may ask her.
Yes, ask me anything. Right now it's time for truth, Um nothing but the truth.
There you go. And I just want to thank you again for like taking the time to talk to me and everything. And I'm really glad that you decided to do this real talk with me.
And I appreciate you doing this for me, because I really wanted people to know, regardless of if they still feel the same way about me, like at least they still know about
Yeah.
me,
I have a question for you from Pimp and Gimp. He says, Priceless, can you ask her who structures her show if she's the sole producer and determines what happens?
I definitely don't determine what happens at all. At the end of the day, if I'm hosting the show, I do have a say so what happens on what I do there, but most definitely everything that happens, sometimes it's because Alki wants it, and whatever Alki wants, basically he's going to get no matter what, because it's his company. I just follow all the rules. So if you guys see me talking about certain subjects, or see me bringing certain people that you might not like you guys claim you don't like Danny, Alki wanted him there. Alki wants me to talk about certain subjects, and I just followed through with it. So I would say sometimes it's my beyond my control. Sometimes it's not. Um, so yeah.
There you go. There you go, Pimpin'. All right, I'm going to go ahead and type our Skype in chat. So if anyone wants to call in from chat, they can do so now. Toxic, do you have a question for Rika?
Yeah, I want to know, where did you hear of daggering? Was it brought to you, or did it just come naturally, or what was the deal with daggering? Because we brought it on the show, like, on one of our channels, like probably like a month before it started happening, then we started to see it happening, and, like, there was a lot of speculation saying that we were
A lot of
spooked.
people, yeah, a lot of people kept telling me to dagger. They kept saying dagger. I was like, what is that? And they was like, well, it's basically just dry humping. So everybody that I brought on the show, they would say dagger him or dagger her, get behind her and ram her. Like, this is what they wanted to see, which was a surprise to me. I'm like, who wants to really like see that kind of stuff? But they wanted to see it, so it kind of like played a part of like most of my shows every time. Like Dagger and like had to be a part of the show, or the battle cameras would not be happy. Like they had to see at least before the ending of the show or the beginning of the show, they had to see some daggering. So that's how it came apart. It was suggested by a couple of the battle cameras to dry hump people in the studio.
And have you ever done porn, or would you do porn?
I would never. Okay, first of all, I've never done porn at all. Would I do porn? I don't think. You know, I don't judge those people. You know, I don't know the situations they're in. You know, how they struggle with money and how they grew up. So I couldn't say that's a bad entertainment business because I really can't judge them. But I would say that I would never do porn. Because I couldn't handle sleeping with different men. Like my mind would just make me more depressed. So I would never do porn.
Just want to remind everybody to give us a call. It's Kel Loves Orange Soda. KEL Loves Orange Soda. If you want to get your questions into Rika, now's the time to do it. We're only going to be on here for about another 10 minutes, so make it quick, guys.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm so glad you did this, Rika. This is so good, and I hope everything works out for you tomorrow. I really do.
I hope so too, but you know it plays a big toll on my life because my family they got to the point to where they're tired of me getting fired like every blue moon.
Right, and you can't commit. You can't commit to relocating because you're not stable with your income to relocate.
Yeah, so it's like I want to, I have to make a drastic change. I have to move down there, if I come back. But at the same time, I feel like, I'm struggling with a lot. And like my family, they don't like, they don't like the situation I'm in, So they tell me, maybe it's time for me to leave. But I feel like it's my decision to stay. And I feel like if I want to stay, to, still come and support Battlecam and get on my feet and they have to support me no matter what, but I don't get that support from my family nowadays. So
if you were to stay off Battlecam, would you as far as doing your show, would you ever log in and just cam up in your room, or would you just be done with Battlecam altogether?
I probably would not log in because how I am with people in general is if I'm not dealing with the situation no more, it hurts me to even see anything that has to do with it. Like seriously.
Have you ever thought of that? Like maybe, like I don't know, like if you were to cam up more on your side time, you'd get to know more of the battle cameras and then relate to what they're talking to in the chat, thus giving you more content to fill your show with, and you can rely on content and less on twerking just by camming up and being more active on your side time.
That's actually what I was going to suggest to you.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the reason why I don't get along with half of the battle cameras, because I don't communicate with them just on main, when I'm not working. So they kind of feel like, I never cam up, I never talk to them. So I kind of feel like, yeah, that is something that I should do. I should cam up more on main.
You had said that your family was kind of upset with your situation with what's going on with Filmon. Is it they're upset about what you do, or is it that they're upset about the money not being
stable? Stable.
Okay.
Because they know what I do. It's just the whole, maybe one day I'm getting paid, maybe one day I'm not, maybe one day I'm fired. They don't like that type of situation.
Got it. Yeah, I understand that. Plus, mothers are protective.
Yes, and it is hard because I'm like, she wants me to take her advice, but it's like at the end of the day,
Your mom's actually been there at the studio with you, hasn't she, when you've done shows?
She co-hosted one time with me also, too.
Oh, wow.
A question earlier in the chat was, and I actually laughed out loud when I read it, but they wanted to know, Rika, are you a blood or a crip?
A blood. Wow, that's amazing.
I don't know. No,
red's my favorite color, so.
Oh, okay. No, I had a real question, but I totally forgot it. Yeah. Anybody wants to get your questions in there? We have Chloe calling in right now.
Dun dun dun.
Welcome, Chloe.
Hello,
hey, what's
Chloe.
up, guys? and hello, Rika.
Hello.
I can't believe nobody's really getting in on this, man. They're not calling in.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. I thought the Skype lines would blow up the second we opened them. Maybe I asked all the questions that people wanted to know.
You went a little long, but you did. It seems to be a great show. So you don't think you'll cam up if you're not, getting your job back or anything like that? You don't think you'll visit us or say anything?
No. I mean, maybe, but I
I
just.
I got a question for you. You actually said that you were here for 2 years, and I'm kind of positive that you've only been here a year because you actually started doing there was an event where you changed clothes with Joe and you were the co-host a little while and stuff.
No,
That's just been
it was a year and a half.
no, it's
It was
just
a year
been
and a half.
a tad over a year, hon. So you've only been here for 1 year.
Yeah, about right.
Okay. I'm just trying to get out of I heard everything that you said and everything. Like you were saying, what you want a stable job, you want, the stability of everything, and you want to be treated correctly. And I actually saw this in your last few shows. You just sat there, you didn't work till to the end of them, and you just kind of bored. Like you wanted to talk serious, like you kind of said during your show here.
My
So
last
I
show.
was curious what kicked that off. What made you stop. I mean, you were kind of serious last year. So in the last one, you brought your mom on.
Yeah.
So was it something leading up to this? Did you kind of want to change the format of your show or something like that?
I kind of, I talked to Alki, before, New Year's, and he told me that he wanted me to be more serious on my shows, and I agreed on it because I feel like it was about that time to kind of just be serious, and kind of end the twerking completely.
I mean,
Um,
I'm not trying to dog you or nothing, but the only thing that I heard the majority of what you said, you didn't take responsibility for a lot of the things that you've done and everything. I actually thought I was kind of wrong, regardless of how they showed you, or you said they cut that clip when you were. I feel like you were accosting these people, this lady had a baby in a stroller, and that you probably, regardless of what happened beforehand, shouldn't have chased them down or had any altercation with them like that at all. If I was that dude, I would have swung on you too. I probably would have knocked you out, especially for going at the girl with the kid and stuff like that.
yeah, I pretty much I do what Alki tells me to do, whether it's crazy or not. And the situation was go at him, and that's what I
I
did.
didn't hear you. The part that I didn't hear was you take responsibility for that, and that's the part that you can't get around. It is what it is. It shows what it shows on the video, right? That was pretty much you. It wasn't them telling you to chase her down at that point. That was the way you act normally, right?
That's not the way I act normally. That's just the character I play on Filmon, and I felt like,
But you said if she didn't swing on you, you wouldn't have swung back. If he didn't try to do this, you wouldn't try to do that. So that was you acting on your own. It wasn't you acting, right?
no, that wasn't me acting on my own at that point. That was basically just we weren't turning the cameras off. I was just like, what, I'm gonna do my job, and basically what Alki wanted us to do was to go out and harass people, and that's exactly what I did. And I did take responsibility for it towards the end, but I also knew that it was told for me to go out on Venice Beach and harass couples, and that's exactly what I did. And the blame is on me, regardless of what was told.
That's just wrong though, and you need to understand that.
Yeah, it definitely was, but
But I kind of heard what you said and how you wanted a stable job and all this. And trust me, you're not going to get that from Filmon. So if you go back to working for him and doing whatever you do, that's on you. You know what I mean? Because he's never going to give you that. He's never going to give you a stable job. You're going to get screwed with paychecks and be fired and hired one day and the next. I heard everything you said right there. Regardless if I believe that's the way you acted or didn't act, and who's you and who's the person that claps their hands and screams at people. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of lovers and a lot of haters and a lot of trolls. But, hey, nobody else is calling in, so call in if you want to call in and say something.
I actually have a question for Rika. It's kind of unrelated to the Venice Beach incident. Actually, totally unrelated. I was just wondering, when is actually the last time you talked to the bald dude? Was that yesterday? You ever talked to him today? Your co-host guy, Danny, I think his name is.
I talked to him today. Yeah, he told me he will be at the studio tomorrow.
Was he still acting like, I got me a job now? Show!
Yeah, he said, girl. he was all like, Alki, he cut me a check last night to help me get my car out the shop.
So
And he's just excited about it, and I was just like, good for you. But yeah, he was still kind of over exaggerating the whole situation. But he's new to it, so of course he's gonna be like all over exaggerating about the situation.
did,
Well, it seemed like he
did
was
you
on
ever
there just
edit
for like a second. Yes, I actually have the footage
time?
of that somewhere. He was only on there for about a second. Then Alki was just like, "This is shit. Turn it off. This is just crap. You're all fired. You're all fired." He said you're all fired though when he talked to him.
Hey, did you feel like he was trying to steal your show at any time for risk?
I didn't, but everybody on Battle Camp kept telling me that he was, and so it kind of got implanted in my head. Maybe that was the case, especially because he's not even like really upset that things
I
happened the
want
way
to know
it
why he
did
couldn't
last
pick it
night.
up, dude. People sitting there, why couldn't he take over?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I understand, and that's why mainly I got in trouble for not going on because he couldn't take over. He
Oh, were
couldn't.
you actually there, or did you just not show up at all, or did you just couldn't get a
I
ride, or
was
what
there. I
happened?
was there. I was there
Oh,
at
damn.
3 o'clock, and I was supposed to go on at 4. I was there an hour before my show. I was supposed to get my check, and they tell me you're not getting paid for a whole week. I was like, I'm not going on air, like straight up. And I told Danny to take over the show, and he couldn't even do it. You know. I had people calling me like, "Oh, he doesn't even know what he's doing. Like, he's not even asking people questions. He's not even talking to the people." And I was just like,
Yeah.
"Wow."
I have a
Well, maybe.
question. Sorry, Price. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Okay. I understand if this is a sensitive subject and you don't want to talk about it, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But it was brought to my attention this morning. Uh, Let me welcome Trev real quick, and then get rid of some of this stuff. Okay.
What's up, guys?
Hey. So basically,
Trev?
this was brought to me this morning, and we mentioned it, but we didn't really like hammer it. I didn't know what was going on, and then we found out we were going to actually have an interview with you today. So it kind of made me want to ask this question anyway. But if it's too sensitive, it's cool. But we got this status update from Facebook. It says, laying in my room thinking about suicide. I was wondering if you wanted to touch on that at all, or if it's just too sensitive, and if this is even you who really posted this.
I did post that. It was actually something that I've struggled with for a long time with depression. It comes with, depression. I've actually never attempted to do any of those things, but I get depressed so much that I think about, hey, F this world. I don't even care about, living at this point. Like, I get like that sometimes, not necessarily meaning I want to jump off a bridge or anything, but it's just like,
You
sometimes
have
it's
those
just like,
thoughts.
I have thoughts like, maybe this world's just like whatever. I don't even care. Like, so kind of, get kind of emo sometimes and depressed. But I did delete the status because it was kind of crazy.
Actually, that's what made me hit Rika up, was seeing that status message.
I didn't want people,
Yeah, I know when it was brought to us, we mentioned it. We were hoping things were going good, and then Priceless said we got this interview tonight, so we were kind of like, all right, at least now we get to find out what's going on. So you're not going to kill yourself though. You're good.
No, yes, I'm definitely fine.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Wait, no or yes?
Yes.
She's good.
Yes.
No,
Wait,
no,
you're
no.
confusing us.
No, I'm not going to kill myself.
Be very clear.
How you doing, Trev?
Nothing should
Well-
go so far as you want to harm yourself. Nothing's that bad.
I mean,
Jake,
if
you wanna
somebody
harm
shoots
yourself
me and
ever.
puts me
Remember
out of
that.
the misery, that's a whole nother story. I have no control over that, but I'm not going to kill
Well, honestly, one thing I want to know how you feel because with Justin, fired hard, still on the show, still a film. Cavacho back on Battle Cam, and then it's like Rika got fired. I mean, where do you think you sit like that? I mean, Cavacho literally back on.
Cavacho had a bad name. Like, people were coming at him for stuff beyond his control. Like, I feel like people were blaming him for everything. Like, the whole Laker tickets thing. Like, people took it far, And I feel like that's a hard thing for somebody to do. You're gonna go in the middle of a game and run through it. Like, not everybody's gonna want to do something like that. But I feel like he deserves to be back at this time. He went to Venice Beach and had birds freaking eat off of him and peck at him and done all
With
kinds
trash
of
cans.
Yeah, he deserves it. That's how I feel about that. But I feel like every time somebody, gets fired, another person comes back, and then other people come back and then people get fired again, and this is like an ongoing thing, you know, with the company. So I kind of, like I said, I would love to be at the company, but not that way. You know, it has to be some type of security with the company. Things is just like really crazy lately. So
That happens.
I have a question
Trev,
from Natasha. Just came in. She's actually still
okay.
writing it. It says, "Hey, ask her if she thinks Alki is firing everyone for attention." And she's still typing with maybe a second part to the question. So, do you think he may be firing everyone just to get attention?
I don't think he's firing people to get attention. I think he might fire people to kind of like show him that he's not playing around, you know? Kind of like show him that, you know, he's serious, because I think a lot of people probably don't really take him serious as much, you know? And as a boss, you want people to take you serious. And I think that's really what it is.
Welcome, Natasha, to Real Talk. How's it going?
Good.
Do you have a question for Rika?
Well, I think she'll be back. I don't think he's firing her for good.
I hope not.
But even though it's like, you know, these things, like he does it every time he feels like it, you know. And at that point, you know, it's like, how many times are you gonna keep firing somebody and hiring them? You know, you gotta make up your mind. Like, that's my whole thing about the whole situation. You know, he's fired Justin like millions of times throughout last year and even the beginning of this year. And
Don't you guys sign a contract?
I did sign a contract, but nothing stated that he couldn't fire me or anything. There was nothing wrote up like that, you know.
Do you think it's just like a sick game? Like he wants to see who's going to stay with him even though he keeps firing them?
I don't know. I try to wonder all these things in my head, but I don't know what it is, because every time I try to talk to him, it's hard to get through to him. He's always busy with something. You know, I've been trying to get a meeting with him for the longest since he's been in California. But it could be so. You know, he's probably trying to check people's loyalty. You know, see how loyal they are. You know, see if, you know, maybe if I don't get paid one day, if I'm going to stick around. I don't know. But
Yeah, or maybe how you're going to react if he does fire you. Like, what are you going to do?
yeah, probably so.
Can I ask my question now?
Yes, please, Trev. Go for it.
Who is your least favorite person at Filmon? Like as far as like people that are on camera, like people are coming in when on your show day and you're just like, fuck, this person's here. Like, who is your least favorite person?
Gosh, that's a good question. I haven't really had anybody on my show to really say that, but I would say probably having to deal with anybody that talks over me, like, and won't let me talk. So I would say Danny has been here for a while. In the beginning, it was okay, but then it started getting kind of crazy. So I would say,
sounds like
you hate Danny.
I don't hate.
You hate him. You hate him. You hate him.
I met Danny, and I brought
# Rika hates Danny right now. Thank you.
No, I would say I hate when people just don't let me talk, like, on my show. And that's not just Danny, that's just everybody else. But I would say he kind of became like
I thought you were gonna say Justin, but
no, Justin's fine. Me and Justin are fine. As far as working together, everything's good with Justin. Justin does not let me talk either sometimes. So I would say, he has a problem. Like, he talks a lot, and he doesn't let me get a word in whenever I host shows with him. So that's kind of how Danny is, but Danny's a little worser. So Danny, he likes to get loud and stuff and try to like take over, you know, the whole show.
Hey Rika, can I ask you about the whole thing that went down with Messi and the underagers? What happened with all of that? Like, Messi wasn't like told to twerk on anybody, was he? He just up and did it.
What happened was the girls, they were walking past and they saw the Filmon studio sign. They thought, ooh, like, I want to be on TV. We asked them if they were 18 or older, and the mother spoke for them and said they're 18. and Allie was supposed to bring out the release forms for them to sign, but she never brought them out, and so that played a huge part in it. And basically, we brought them in the studio. I decided, out of my own will, just because I twerk, on everybody that we bring in the studio. So I ended up twerking on one of the girls, thinking that she's 18, and Messi goes and daggers, not twerks, but daggers, and starts dry humping the other girl, and the mom explodes. She's like, "Oh no, girls, get up, let's go, we're going." She goes and flags down a police officer and says that a man dry humped his 15-year-old daughter, her 15-year-old daughter. And I was like, whoa, 15, 16, what the hell? And the police wanted to arrest him, so he left and he ran out the studio. Aoki said he was banned and could never come back. That's pretty much what happened. And he hasn't been on battle camp since.
Do you think he was out of line?
I think he got kind of carried away with it. I think just because he saw me twerking on spy doesn't mean that he goes and dagger them, especially because they did look so young, regardless of what age they said they were. I think that as a man, especially as a man, you just don't do that.
Well, I personally think that if they looked so young, somebody at the studio should have identified them first of all. Or, I don't think
that got brought up, and I suggested the same thing. It's just so hard when you're just pulling someone off of a street in a matter of seconds. Like have someone check their ID in that matter of time.
Yeah.
But they need to find a way around it, though.
Yeah, it ultimately falls on the mother, but still, like the studio, they should be in control of Messi or anybody they have in the studio, and they should have ID'd.
What I'm saying though is, do you think that Messi should be held responsible for his actions, or do you think that should be on the head of like Filmon, or even the mother?
I think because we were told to go out there by Aoki, so I think it should be. I don't think it should be too much on Messi, but I think it definitely plays a part with Filmon, because they should have had those release papers out, because he strictly told us all to go outside and to get people to bring in the studio. We just did what he told us to do at the end of the day. So I mean, Filmon plays a huge part in that too, as well as Aoki.
What did you think when you saw like the whole incident happen where Justin started getting hit by was it the camera guy?
Yes, it was Carl, the one who went on the Vegas trip with us. Basically, Justin kept going on about everything that happened in Vegas and was basically telling everybody the truth. Like, they kicked us out of the hotel room and tried to leave us stranded in Vegas. Carl got mad because he was telling the truth and snapped, came behind the camera and punched him in his face.
And you and Justin started kind of exchanging words too, right? Or no?
Yeah, because Justin kept, saying that nobody wanted to work, that everybody was trying to have a vacation. He was trying to sleep all day in the hotel room because he said he was tired. We all were tired. But in reality, he went out to Vegas for work. And so he kept saying that I didn't want to work. And I was like, yo, I was up. You were asleep. So I that's why I snapped on him. But it was just so much drama with that trip. Like, we didn't really get any work done, and the whole trip was a fail because we almost got kicked out of the hotel. Me, Messi, and Justin. So just imagine we're stranded in Vegas and we stay like way in LA. Like, it was just crazy.
Okay, so Rika, you've twerked and daggered many people from Battle Cam. My question to you, who is your favorite? Who's the best daggerer? And who's your favorite to twerk with? Because you had some pretty memorable ones. Joe, neighbor number deuce, a lot of them.
I would say, as far as daggering, Joe gets that, because Joe is, when we daggered on the shows that we done, he does it well. And he just, I don't know, he's funny. He just does it like real funny. But I would say that number one dagger would be that. Twerking, gosh, like I can't even think like who's twerked with me. Like, I'm just trying to think like right now. Okay, I would say the best one, I'm not gonna lie, it was when me and Priceless was twerking on each other, and I was like twerking my booty all in her face, and then she twerked on my face. And that was good.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I'm getting all embarrassed, Rika.
Yes, we twerked on each other. We twerked on each other's faces. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, but I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, for watching Real Talk. I appreciate all of you that tune in every week, and thank you for your loyalty. I appreciate it. And next week we have Eyelids on Real Talk, and he had to cancel for tonight due to real life stuff, and real life comes first. So next week will be Eyelids. And thank you, Rika, so much for everything. You know, I
Thank you
appreciate you
too.
taking
I
the time.
appreciate you guys calling in and having a heart to heart with guys and personal conversation. Like I've been waiting for this. So thank you too, and thank you everybody who actually called in to talk to
Yeah,
me.
thank you, Chloe, Natasha, Trev.
I want to say, Rika, I hope you stay on Battle Cam even if you don't go back to the studio. I hope you still cam up, and I liked your show, and I think you'll be back. I don't think he's gonna leave you gone.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I will cam up. I will start camming up on main. I will.
Yeah, or even your side channel. You know, that way you can have like one-on-one time and actually have a conversation with someone. Really, with main, you don't really get to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Or you can crash other people's side channels like I do too.
I'll do that too.
All right, well, thank you again. Thank you for everyone for tuning in.
Thank you
For
too.
Real
Thank you,
Talk.
Toxic. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Chloe. And I'll talk to you guys soon. And
Yeah, you will. I'll hit you up, text you, Rika.
all right.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Real Talk. Please stick around. Don't go anywhere. TGS programming is not done yet because right after the break, we are going to conclude our broadcast day. So we're going to run down all the shows that happened on Filmon TV today. So if you guys want to call back in on the Skype, we can talk about the things that we've seen today. I want to thank everybody for calling in. I want to thank Rika especially for taking the time to speak to us. I want to thank Priceless once again for hosting the best show on Battlecam, Real Talk with Priceless One, brought to you by TGS. Stick around, guys. We'll be right back.